Experts are warning this winter could be one of the harshest on record, with relentless storms and plummeting temperatures gripping the nation. Power grid failures loom large, leaving millions at risk of freezing in the dark. Imagine 90 days without electricity. How would you survive? The warnings are clear and the stakes couldn't be higher. This winter, survival might depend entirely on how well you're prepared. Aging infrastructure and overwhelming energy demands are pushing the U.S. power grid to the brink, and rolling blackouts may be just the beginning. For those unprepared, a long, cold winter could turn into a life-threatening battle. In this video, we're breaking down the 10 must-have preps to help you survive 90 days without power. From heating strategies to essential supplies, these steps could make the difference between enduring the winter safely or facing a deadly crisis. Recent reports from the North American Electric Reliability Corporation reveal a chilling reality. Parts of the U.S. power grid are dangerously vulnerable. Aging systems, rising energy demands, and relentless winter storms are the perfect storm for widespread outages. When the power goes out, it's not just about inconvenience, it's about survival. Picture this. Homes plunged into icy darkness, heaters failing, and water pipes freezing solid. Without power, even the basics like clean water and heat become luxuries. Cities and towns could descend into chaos, and survival will depend on preparation. If the grid goes down this winter, the consequences could stretch far beyond a few days of discomfort. Imagine 90 days of bone-chilling cold, with no end in sight. Supplies will vanish, and desperation will rise. If you're not ready, the winter of 2024 could be catastrophic. 10 must-have preps. Survive the winter blackout. When the power fails, staying warm isn't optional. It's life or death. Hypothermia can strike in minutes, even indoors if you're unprepared. A few blankets and sweaters won't cut it. You need a solid plan for generating and retaining heat. Start with a reliable heat source like propane or kerosene heaters, but learn to use them safely. Stockpile enough fuel to last 3 months because resupply won't be an option. These heaters burn fuel quickly, so plan carefully. Safety is crucial. Ventilation is non-negotiable to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Equip your home with a battery-powered or hand-crank carbon monoxide detector to stay protected. Stock up on essential gear like heavy-duty wool blankets, thermal clothing, and layered sleeping bags for insulation. Add Mylar emergency blankets to your arsenal. They're lightweight, compact, and excellent at reflecting body heat. Dedicate one room as your heating zone. Seal off drafts, focus your heating efforts, and conserve precious fuel. Backup solutions are also essential. Chemical hand warmers can prevent frostbite, while heating rocks in an outdoor fire and safely bringing them indoors can provide sustained warmth. If possible, install a small wood stove. In extreme conditions, it's a game changer. When survival is on the line, don't hesitate to burn furniture, scrap wood, or even books to keep your core temperature stable. You can replace belongings, but not your life. 9. Community survive, together or fall apart. Think you can go it alone? Think again. In a prolonged grid-down scenario, isolation is dangerous. Self-sufficiency is important, but no one can prepare for everything. Gaps will appear in your supplies and strategies, and trying to handle it all alone will lead to exhaustion. This is where community becomes vital. Build a trusted network of neighbors, friends, and family. In a crisis, these people won't just be acquaintances. They'll be your lifeline. In a crisis, the idea of self-reliance often sounds appealing, but the reality is far more complex. While individual preparation is crucial, survival in a long-term, grid-down scenario requires teamwork. Building a survival community is about more than companionship. It's about pooling resources, sharing skills, and creating a sustainable support system. Survival isn't about inviting everyone into your circle. It's about carefully selecting trustworthy individuals with valuable abilities. A well-rounded group might include someone with medical expertise, another with mechanical skills, and others trained in defense or agriculture. Take time now to identify these strengths within your network and assign roles based on what each person brings to the table. Communication is another cornerstone of a functional community. Establish a reliable system that everyone can use, such as walkie-talkies, CB radios, or even simple signal codes. These tools aren't for casual conversation. They're lifelines for coordinating efforts and ensuring safety. Pooling resources can also turn scarcity into sufficiency. One person might stockpile extra food, another might have medical supplies, and someone else might have access to a freshwater source. Together you can create a shared stockpile that lasts far longer than an individual's. Establishing a barter system in advance can make resource exchanges smoother and foster trust among group members. Trust is the foundation of any survival community. Without it, even the best plans will crumble. Choose people you can rely on, build strong relationships, and set clear expectations. This mutual trust will help your group stay united, even when tensions rise or resources dwindle. A community also strengthens defense capabilities. No single person can stay alert 24/7, but a group can organize rotating shifts to monitor for threats. In urban areas, this might mean forming a neighborhood watch. In rural areas, it could involve lookout points and shared alarm systems. A united front discourages potential threats far more effectively than an isolated individual ever could. Beyond the practical benefits, a community offers emotional resilience. Isolation breeds hopelessness, and hopelessness can be deadly. Shared meals, conversations, and even laughter can restore morale in challenging times. Facing hardship with others provides the mental strength to keep going, even when the future seems uncertain. In the end, survival is a collective effort. A united group can not only endure, but thrive, sharing burdens and lightening the load. Together, you can turn a daunting challenge into a sustainable way of life. 8. Medical supplies. Be ready for injury and illness. When the power grid fails, your access to medical care could disappear overnight, hospitals will be overwhelmed, and pharmacies will be emptied in a rush of panic buying. In such a scenario, minor injuries or illnesses can escalate into life-threatening conditions without immediate treatment. A well-stocked survival-grade first aid kit is non-negotiable. This isn't your average kit with a handful of Band-Aids and a bottle of aspirin. You'll need supplies capable of managing emergencies, preventing infections, and addressing chronic conditions. Start with wound care essentials. Stock alcohol wipes, iodine or hydrogen peroxide to disinfect injuries. Sterile gauze, adhesive bandages, butterfly closures, and medical tape are vital for dressing wounds properly. Don't underestimate the importance of antibiotic ointments. Having several tubes on hand could prevent a small scrape from turning into a serious infection. For more severe injuries, consider sterile sutures and learn how to use them. Being able to close a wound in an emergency might save a life when professional help isn't an option. Pain management is another critical aspect of your medical stockpile. Over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen and acetaminophen are must-haves. Plan to stock several months' worth since these items will disappear quickly in a crisis. Additionally, think beyond basic pain relief. Muscle relaxers, antihistamines, anti-nausea medications, and anti-diarrheal pills can help manage symptoms that would otherwise become debilitating. Electrolyte packets are another essential. In situations involving dehydration, especially from gastrointestinal issues, these simple packets can prevent life-threatening complications. If you or someone in your household has a chronic condition, the stakes are even higher. Ensure you have a supply of necessary medications to last several months. Speak with your doctor now about obtaining an extended prescription or alternatives to manage the condition during a prolonged outage. Preparation extends beyond having supplies. You also need the knowledge to use them effectively. Invest in first aid and CPR training to ensure you're equipped to handle emergencies with confidence. Medical skills might be as important as the supplies themselves when professional help is out of reach. In a grid-down scenario, you'll be your own first responder. By assembling a comprehensive medical kit and building the skills to use it, you'll be prepared to tackle injuries, illnesses, and emergencies head-on, giving yourself and your loved ones the best chance at survival. Now is the time to take proactive steps if you or someone in your household manages chronic conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or asthma. These health issues won't vanish in a disaster. They'll become harder to treat. Consult your doctor about obtaining extra supplies of necessary medications or exploring alternative treatments. For those reliant on inhalers, having multiple backups is non-negotiable. For temperature-sensitive medications like insulin, plan ahead. Solar-powered coolers, ice packs, and insulated bags can help extend their usability for several days when conventional refrigeration fails. Identify resources like neighbors with solar setups or community cooling spaces in advance. Beyond managing pre-existing conditions, prepare for potential hidden dangers such as bacterial infections, food poisoning, and viral illnesses. While antibiotics can be life-saving, access to prescriptions may disappear quickly. A lesser-known alternative is fish antibiotics, which are chemically identical to their human counterparts. However, research their proper dosages thoroughly and consult reliable sources. Improper use can lead to severe consequences or contribute to antibiotic resistance, a risk no one can afford in a survival scenario. Finally, invest time in building your medical knowledge. Learn essential skills like CPR, wound care, splinting, and suturing. Consider enrolling in a first aid or wilderness medicine course. In a crisis, you won't have a medical team to rely on. The solutions will come from your preparation and training. Equip yourself with not just a medical kit, but the skills to use it effectively. 7. Food preservation. Outlast spoilage and waste. Stockpiling food is only part of the equation. Keeping it edible without power is the real challenge. When the grid goes down, refrigerators will become useless and freezers will only buy you about 48 hours. Fresh produce, dairy, and meat will spoil quickly. If you've been counting on canned goods alone to sustain you, it's time to expand your strategy. Start with shelf-stable essentials like rice, beans, lentils, dried pasta, and canned proteins like tuna and chicken. These foods last for years and are easy to prepare. But shelf-stable isn't enough. You also need to preserve perishables before they spoil. Learn techniques like dehydrating, pickling, fermenting, and canning. If you've never canned your food, now is the time to learn. Canning turns fresh vegetables, fruits, and even meats into long-term assets that can last for months or years. Pickling kits and canning supplies are relatively inexpensive today, but could become scarce as demand rises. Stock up now and practice these skills while you can. Root cellaring is another excellent option. Even without a traditional cellar, a cool, dark closet or basement corner can extend the life of potatoes, carrots, onions, and other hardy vegetables. If space is tight, consider burying food containers underground for natural cooling, a simple yet effective method that's been used for centuries. Invest in large quantities of salt, vinegar, and airtight containers. Salt and vinegar are essential for preservation techniques like pickling and curing, while airtight containers protect your food from pests. Rats and bugs will be constant threats in a world without modern pest control, so rodent-proof your supplies and guard them as if your life depends on it, because it might. Finally, waste is your enemy in a survival situation. Every ounce of food that spoils represents lost calories, nutrition, and effort. Plan meals to use everything you can and compost what's left, to grow more food. A single spoiled meal could mean the difference between survival and collapse, so treat your food resources with care. 6. Water. Stockpile, purify, and protect your lifeline. Water is non-negotiable in survival. Without it, life becomes unsustainable in just a few days. When the grid goes down, municipal water systems will fail, cutting off access to clean, drinkable water, or worse, contaminating it. You'll need a reliable and sizable water supply for drinking, cooking, bathing, cleaning, and even basic medical care. Start with a stockpile. Store at least 1 gallon per person per day for a minimum of 90 days. Bottled water is a good starting point, but it won't be enough. Water is heavy, and your reserves can deplete faster than you think. To prepare for long-term scenarios, redundancy is key. Expand your storage by investing in large water tanks, barrels, or rainwater collection systems. Food-grade plastic containers are also effective for smaller-scale storage. Fill every safe container you can, but don't neglect maintenance. Rotate your water supply regularly to prevent bacterial growth. Keep containers tightly sealed and store them in cool, dark places to avoid algae formation. Inspect for cracks or leaks often. Just one compromised container could ruin your entire reserve. Purification is equally critical. Even with a stockpile, stored water can become unsafe over time. Invest in high-quality multi-stage water filters like Berkey or Katahdin systems, which remove bacteria, viruses, protozoa, and chemical contaminants. Stock up on water purification tablets, unscented bleach and iodine, and learn their proper usage. A small error in chemical treatment can render water either unsafe or toxic. Prepare for natural sources. If you're near a stream, river, or lake, develop a plan to collect, treat, and store raw water. Wild water may look clean, but is often rife with animal waste, pollutants, and harmful microorganisms. Always boil, filter, and purify before use. Tools like a rocket stove or solar oven can help boil water without electricity, and durable pots are a must for this task. Finally, guard your water supply. In a crisis, water will become as valuable as gold. Hide your reserves if needed and be ready to defend them, as desperate individuals will inevitably seek out sources of clean water. In a grid-down world, water isn't just a resource. It's survival itself. 5. Light up your night or face the dark. When the power grid fails, darkness will become overwhelming. Navigating through pitch-black conditions is more than inconvenient. It's a direct threat to your safety, productivity, and mental well-being. Without light, simple tasks become hazardous, and the absence of visibility amplifies feelings of isolation and vulnerability. To thrive in such conditions, you'll need a reliable, continuous source of light. Start by assembling an emergency lighting arsenal. Invest in battery-powered lanterns, flashlights, and headlamps. Headlamps are particularly valuable because they free your hands for essential tasks like cooking, administering first aid, or carrying supplies. Stockpile batteries. Think in terms of hundreds, not dozens. Opt for long-lasting alkaline batteries, but also include rechargeable ones in your kit. Add solar chargers to your setup so you can keep batteries charged even during prolonged outages. Hand crank flashlights are another excellent option. While they require manual effort, they provide light without the need for batteries, making them a valuable backup. Candles, though old-fashioned, are still useful. Choose unscented, long-burning varieties, or make your own. Always use fireproof holders and never leave candles unattended to minimize fire risks. For a more robust option, oil lamps are effective but require proper ventilation to avoid hazardous fumes. Strategize your lighting. Create lighting zones in critical areas like the kitchen, bathroom, and sleeping quarters to conserve energy. Solar-powered lights, such as garden or motion-detecting security lights, are excellent investments. During the day, let solar lights charge outside, then bring them indoors at night. These lights not only illuminate your space, but also enhance security by alerting you to movement. In a world without power, light is more than a convenience. It's a tool for survival. Prepare wisely to ensure that when night falls, you won't be left in the dark. 4. Fortify your home or become a target. In a survival crisis, your home transforms from a living space into a fortress. When society begins to unravel, resources will grow scarce, and desperation will drive people to extreme measures. Food, water, and supplies you've carefully stockpiled may make your home a target for those willing to do anything to survive. A simple lock and key won't cut it in a grid-down world. You need a strategy to protect your home and defend it with everything you've got. Start with the basics. Fortify your entry points. Reinforce doors and windows with deadbolts, door bars, and locks. These aren't luxuries. They're life-saving barriers. Incorporate multiple locking mechanisms on all doors and consider adding steel security bars or plywood over windows. For privacy, use blackout curtains to conceal light and prevent outsiders from spotting activity inside. Alarms, even simple ones, are essential. Set up tripwires or noise traps using cans filled with rocks, or go for advanced battery-operated alarms. Solar-powered options are excellent and don't rely on the grid. Act now to buy or build these tools as prices climb. Defensive tools are critical too. Keep items like bats, crowbars, pepper spray, or whistles within reach to give you extra time to respond to threats. For those trained and legally permitted, firearms can provide additional security, but owning one isn't enough. Practice defensive drills, develop a family communication plan, and establish a secure room where everyone can retreat in an emergency. Deterrence can often prevent a confrontation before it starts. Make your home appear as a hard target by working with neighbors to fortify your area. Establish a neighborhood watch and support each other's security. A well-fortified community is less likely to attract attention than isolated homes. Remember, desperation drives extreme behavior. Plan for long-term security, not just a few nights. In a world where survival depends on resources, your best defense is preparation, coordination, and vigilance. 3. Sanitation. Stay clean, stay safe. In a grid-down world, sanitation becomes a survival necessity, not a convenience. With no functioning sewage systems or trash collection, waste can quickly turn your home and surroundings into a breeding ground for dangerous diseases like cholera and dysentery. Ignoring sanitation could lead to consequences far worse than hunger. Start with a plan for human waste management. If your toilet stops flushing, you'll need alternatives. Stock up on heavy-duty contractor-grade trash bags, lots of them. Line your toilet with these bags and set up a safe disposal method, such as burying waste away from water sources or creating an outdoor latrine. If possible, invest in a composting toilet now, as prices are already climbing. For simpler setups, a bucket toilet paired with lime or sawdust can work to cover waste and control odors. Trash management is another challenge. Without garbage collection, store waste in airtight containers to minimize odors and prevent pests. Keep trash outside whenever possible. Bleach is a multi-purpose lifesaver. Use it to disinfect surfaces, sanitize waste areas, and treat water. Stockpile disinfectants, as a single contaminated surface could lead to illness spreading through your household. Gray water, such as water from washing or cooking, also requires careful handling. Use basins to collect it and ensure it doesn't pool or seep into your water supply. Stagnant water can attract pests like mosquitoes, increasing health risks. Consider water filters designed for gray water or reserve it for non-drinking purposes like flushing makeshift toilets or cleaning. Hygiene is equally critical. Stock up on soap, hand sanitizer, and antiseptic wipes. These items may seem minor now, but in a prolonged outage, they become indispensable. A simple untreated cut or scrape can turn into a life-threatening infection. Spending a few dollars on hygiene supplies today could save lives tomorrow. In a survival situation, sanitation isn't optional, it's a daily battle. With proper preparation, you can prevent disease, maintain health, and protect your family's well-being. 2. Communication. Stay informed or get blindsided. When the grid goes down, staying connected becomes a lifeline. Without power, your usual sources of information, TV, internet, and news apps, vanish. Isolation can be dangerous, leaving you unaware of vital updates like incoming weather fronts, shifting resources, or threats in your area. In a survival scenario, information is more than valuable. It's essential. Start by investing in a battery-powered or hand-crank emergency radio with NOAA weather alerts. If possible, opt for a solar-powered model to eliminate battery dependency. These devices are your link to critical updates about weather patterns and emergency broadcasts. Prices for these radios are rising as demand grows, so act quickly. For localized communication, two-way radios or walkie-talkies are indispensable. Choose high-range models if you live in a rural area, and ensure every group member has one. Walkie-talkies don't rely on cellular networks or the internet, making them reliable in a grid-down scenario. Practice using them and establish communication codes to maintain privacy. Taking it a step further, ham radios allow you to communicate over long distances, even with survivalists and emergency operators. While operating a ham radio legally requires a license now, in a total collapse, rules may change. Learning the basics of ham radio operation is essential, and the initial investment is worth the long-term benefits. Don't overlook low-tech communication tools. Simple items like whistles, signal mirrors, and flares can signal for help or alert others to your location. These tools are timeless, reliable, and can function even when modern technology fails. Stock up on these items and learn how to use them effectively. Communication is more than convenience, it's survival. Without it, you risk being blindsided by threats you can't see coming. In a 90-day blackout, staying informed could mean the difference between safety and disaster. 1. Mental fortitude. Strengthen your mind or succumb to despair. The most powerful survival tool isn't in your pantry or toolbox, it's your mind. When power outages stretch into weeks and months, mental resilience becomes the key to enduring isolation, uncertainty, and fear. Without mental fortitude, even the most prepared individuals can fall apart under the weight of prolonged adversity. The first step is creating daily routines to provide structure and purpose. Tasks like collecting water, checking supplies, or chopping wood might seem simple, but they serve as anchors in an otherwise chaotic environment. Research shows that structure boosts morale, keeping your mind engaged and focused during tough times. Combat monotony by stocking up on activities that stimulate the mind, like books, puzzles, or games. These aren't just for entertainment, they're tools to fight off boredom, which can lead to despair in survival situations. Basic items like playing cards, dice, and survival handbooks are increasingly recognized as essential, so gather them while they're still affordable. Prepare for isolation by fostering emotional connections with others in your group. Daily conversations, shared activities, and mutual support are critical for maintaining stability. However, stress can alter behaviors unpredictably, so be prepared for mood swings or conflicts. Designate a safe space for anyone needing a mental break, and keep tools for emotional wellness on hand, such as mindfulness guides or calming essential oils. Adapting to discomfort is another vital skill. Start practicing now by handling small inconveniences with a survival mindset. In a prolonged grid-down scenario, patience and resilience will be tested daily. When setbacks arise, remember this: despair kills faster than hunger, thirst, or exposure. Mental fortitude isn't just about grit, it's about preparation. A strong mind can help you adapt, persevere, and make sound decisions when everything else feels uncertain. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and comment below with your favorite survival tips. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more practical advice to keep your pantry and home prepared year-round. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.